Ladies and gentlemen, today on the program, another trip to Hollywood, courtesy of comedian and actor Nikki Bon. It's confession time, kids. This is the second introduction to this episode that I've recorded. I just did one and it was okay. But, sometimes it's best to just let the people talk. And so instead of giving you my thoughts on this conversation, I'll give you a single thought on this conversation, which is it's one of my favorite conversations that I've ever recorded on this show. And Nikki is charming and funny, but her story is incredibly instructive. There's a lot of wonderful information, practical information in here, along with some really fun stories. And instead of me telling you how to feel about it, I'm just going to let you listen and make up your own mind. I do want to say thank you again to Nikki. This was really, really terrific, and I'm so grateful to her for coming on the show. I also want to give a shout out to Leslie Field, Sarah Smith, Nicholas Clugston, and Kimmy Maroka, the first group of people to order John Huff Podcast t-shirts. Yes, I have the t-shirts in hand. The first run is here. It's a very short one, kids, so if you want to get a shirt, I recommend you jump on it quickly. You can get them via my website, john-huff.com. Click on shop and you will see the t-shirts there just waiting for you. Please do order one if you like them. Your support is very much appreciated. But enough of me selling t-shirts. Let's get to Nikki Bon talking about what it takes to follow a dream, to do it in Hollywood, and to make it work. This is a great one. I hope you enjoy it. And hey, Denny boy! Roll intro! Hello! You're listening to the John Huff Podcast. Oh, yay. Nikki Bon.
Yes.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. How are you today?
I'm surprised that we did. I'm good.
Are you surprised? Why are you surprised?
Well, I woke up and it's funny. I had another audition. I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And
really?
Then it worked out. It's after this, so we're good.
Oh, sweet. How much time have you got?
I have an hour.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to, am I allowed to ask you about the audition yesterday?
Yeah, it's boring though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Commercial auditions. It's just it's a bore.
Okay, fair enough. It's very exotic to someone like me.
I guess that's true. It's when it's a commercial audition, it's like a lot of just improvising, and then yeah. I guess you're right. It's interesting to people. My friends are always like, oh, what do you do at the audition? And then I tell them, they're like, that's weird. These are weird. Yeah, that's a weird thing they have to do.
I get this too because I'm a musician, right? And
yeah.
So I'll play someplace.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, wow, that's amazing. And I'm like, it's a bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bar,
Yeah.
So here's something that will interest you. I woke up this morning and there was snow on the ground.
I've heard. That's what people are saying. It's all over Instagram. It's all over Instagram.
Does this make you miss Toronto desperately?
No, that does not. That's crazy. That's pretty depressing, right?
It's awful.
Yeah, that's too soon.
Yes, it is. It is too soon.
I think at least it's more exciting when the snow happens, when it's like I remember being in school and you'd be in class and then you'd see the first snowfall, like you'd see the first snowflakes and it was so exciting. But if you wake up and it's there, you're like, well, this is just, this sucks.
This totally blows. And it's supposed to, rumor has it that we may get up to 30 centimeters in the next day.
No way.
So if ever you feel like you can't take LA anymore, I want you to remember that, okay?
Okay. That's good timing. Good timing.
How long have you been in LA?
5 years.
Oh, really? You're a veteran now.
I guess so, right?
You're one of them.
I know. It's pretty wild. Everyone says once you make it past 5 years, but I'm not at 10 years yet. That's when it's like, oh God, 10 years. You're full on.
You're an American citizen, yes?
I am. I'm dual.
You are dual.
Yeah, I got both.
You're going to vote?
Yeah. I'm going to vote. I voted last time too.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right.
Not that it counts here.
I'm
like, it's rigged. Everyone's like, it's rigged. It's rigged. Yeah.
This is not a political program.
Yeah.
I can't comment on that. So listen, I'm so excited to talk to you. This is really terrific. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I was watching some of your voicemail lip sync videos this morning.
Okay.
This afternoon, and I was laughing my stupid head off. We're just jumping right in here.
Cool.
Tell me about those videos. Where did those voicemails come from? One of them was your dad.
Yeah. So it came from, I'm so glad you brought this up because I haven't done them in a while because it takes some time, but I have another one for my dad on deck that I keep feeling like I need to do. So this honestly just inspired me to do it this week. But
Wonderful.
so my insurance company called me. My car got hit and the insurance company called me and this woman left the weirdest voicemail. And that was the first one I did. And I remember listening to it and I just was like, this is at first when I heard the voicemail at the beginning, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was someone playing a prank on me. And I thought it was one of my friends like doing a stupid voice. And then when I realized it was real, I thought this is absolutely insane. And then I just was in my head, like making fun of her and I'd play it for people and I'd be like, what is she doing right now? And there's like that silence, like, what is she doing? And then, and then that's when I thought of the idea of taking that voicemail and interpreting what I think that she's doing. And I used to always love lip syncs when I was a kid. Like I was a big competitor, lip sync competitor.
Really?
Yeah, I had to win. I had to win.
Interesting.
And so I thought I just came up with the idea to do a lip sync video of what I thought she was doing. And when I did that, people really liked it. And then I had this like other message from my dad that was ridiculous. And then I did that. And then from there, I just kept doing a few more. I had a friend that gave me the long one. It was like 4 minutes.
That was crazy.
That was my favorite. That one is nuts. Yeah. And it's cool because then people come out and they're like, oh, I have a new voicemail for you. And so, yeah, it came out of a bad situation is where it came from.
But your lip syncing is unbelievable. It is perfect.
I'm a perfectionist. That's the thing. I'm like, I don't want it to be cut. Right. It has to be like every little inflex or breath or this and that. And, I always want to do it in one take. So it's more admirable.
What kind of prep goes into that? It's incredible.
Oh God. I guess I type it out first and then I memorize it and then I get a bit bored of memorizing it. And then I will listen to it over and over and over again with like the idea of what the words are in my head. And it's kind of like learning a dance. It's kind of like learning the beats when you dance to hit, or when you're playing music, like to hit every note. And that's it takes a lot of practice.
I guess. I mean, I've been in music videos where I had to like cop the drums on the recording, right? But you can get away with so much. It does not have to be perfect, but you cannot hide. It's there. But like that one is over 4 minutes long and it's absolutely spotless. Yeah.
So it takes like, I have to fully commit. If I want to get it done, like for example, I want to do one, I'd like to shoot it Monday. I should start working on it today. But sometimes when I have a deadline and I want to push it out, I just will spend like hours just repeating it and repeating it. But I find the hardest part is coming up with what I think those people are doing. Like the memorizing and getting that and the tone and the mannerisms is okay. It's when I have to create like what I think they're doing is when I get frustrated with myself, or when it's like the pressure's on to come up with a unique idea. But it is very much like learning a dance and practicing it.
It's brilliant.
Thank you.
The insurance one is hilarious. Like what that lady is doing is hysterical. And you've got to do the physical stuff and keep it going with the
I know.
dialogue too, right?
Yeah. The physical ends up kind of helping the dialogue because it gives you like what I've realized is my physical has to have purpose to what they're saying.
Right.
So if I was doing something that didn't make sense, it wouldn't fit. Like when I did my dad's stuff and then I knew that I was going to go into him talking to himself in the mirror, then I pick up and I brush my hair and that then I know leads to this. And yeah, it's pretty tough.
What did he say about that?
He is so good at laughing at himself. He's like, so, God, what is that? Oh man, is everybody going to see that? And then he still leaves me ridiculous. Like he left me one that I want to do about how I plucked the hairs on his nose out and that they've grown back. And he thought they'd be gone forever. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's this whole mess, a minute and a half long about his nose hairs.
You can't give that to a comedian. You're asking for it.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Right? I'm lucky that he leaves such ridiculous voicemails because I'm like, I'll never run out. Like, I don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
It's terrific.
Yeah.
So growing up in Toronto, were you a class clown, Nikki Bon? Were you always that kid?
I was not the class clown. Like, I didn't have the balls to interrupt class because I was so scared of getting in trouble. But with my group of friends, I was definitely the silly one. Like, my friend always would call me Charmed because I would make people laugh all the time. I think that I was a really, really ugly kid and I knew it. But I was friends with like cool people. And I had a lot of I went to public school, so I had a lot of guy friends and it was based on my personality. So I kind of learned how to hang and shoot the shit and not get offended by things, Right. But so I was definitely a clown with my group of friends. But to be honest, when I think about my group of friends growing up, my friends in high school, they were all of us were pretty silly. So my best friend and her brother, we all have the same personality. We've known each other since grade 3 and I was weird and they were weird. So it just was we all meshed together. Yeah.
Were you a performer?
Yeah, I definitely was a performer. I was always wanting to put on, before school, I'd always want to put on plays in the backyard or just make up stuff and perform. And Christmas time, I'd come up with Christmas dances to do at dinner. And yeah, the lip sync thing was huge. So in elementary school, they had lip sync competitions and then you had to audition and then they had winners and stuff. And then I went to camp and they had that too. And I took that very seriously. So I was always I was always performing and very competitive, but also just more so perfectionist. It needed to be perfect. Yeah. I needed to hit everything. Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Yeah. But then I forget that sometimes. It's if I did have an audition and I don't know all the words, I'm it'll be fine. And then it's not because I'm it feels so much better to have done the work and do it right and go in and fail or not get it, as long as I know that I did the work. But if I haven't done the work and I go in, I'm why didn't I do that? Which a lot of the time happens, you get distracted.
Oh, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
If I've done, I've been lucky that I haven't had to do a lot of auditions as a musician, but I've done a fair amount of studio work and it's I got stuff in my head that I want to execute when I get there. And
yeah,
you have to be a little bit flexible with that, but I totally understand. It's this weird mindset, but at what point did comedy enter the picture for you? Is that something you always wanted or has this been an evolution?
No, that was not. I always wanted, first when I was a kid, I wanted to be a singer. But then I knew I didn't have a good enough voice, which now I think I could be a singer because the soft, voices are in Feist and, all that kind of vibe. Where when I was a kid, it was I just heard Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, big,
Right.
Then when I realized I couldn't be a singer, I was like, fine, I'll be an actor. I remember just being like, fine, I'll be an actor.
Oh, fine, I'll just be an actor. I guess that's easy.
Actor. And then that wasn't easy. So then I was acting. I went to Queen's University. I took theater, and then I graduated and I moved back to Toronto and started studying more like for film and hoping to audition, and like bounced around with reps. And I just never had like the right one that got me in the door, because in Toronto it's like pretty small. It's big but small.
Right.
And then with frustration, I started taking Second City for improv, and then I was like, oh, I'm good at this. This is fun. And then I was on some improv teams and did that, which I still consider comedy, but now that I'm like doing comedy, it's still different. So I did improv for a while, and it wasn't until 3 years ago. Voicemail and lip sync came before stand-up, like right before stand-up. And I waitress here, and I'm like very sarcastic and like I don't care anymore.
You're like Flo. You're like Flo from Alice. Like, did you watch Alice? Are you too young for Alice?
I don't know what Alice is.
You don't know Alice? Oh my! Oh, I have so much to teach you. Alice was a sitcom in the 70s, and it was set in a diner, right?
Oh, okay.
And one of the waitresses was Flo, and she had like teased up, poofy blonde hair, just like you. And yeah. And she was the sarcastic one. Kiss my grits. Have you ever heard that? Kiss my grits.
No, but I think I have a visual in my head of what it is.
I totally sidetracked you with a reference that makes no sense to you. That's
funny.
Lame.
I'm like, it's fine, because then I'm like, oh, I think I'm old, but I guess I am still a little young.
You are brand new. I'm the old one. Speaking of being the old one, and I hate to cut into you again, but I had the experience today of seeing somebody online who was announcing a birthday, realizing that person was about the same age as me, and thinking, is that what I look like? It was exactly what you said on the Kill Tony program.
Yeah, right?
It actually happened to me today.
I'm glad that other people are thinking. It's awful, right?
Well, it's good for you because your comedy relates to people.
Yeah, thanks.
You're a relator.
I'm a relator. Relate. So yeah, I basically was being really snarky I just am snarky to tables if they can handle it. And I just was like, I was past the point of caring. When I moved to the States, because being Canadian and also just the way I was raised, I've always been like so polite and like, oh, I hope you like me, and like walking on eggshells. And then now once I become comfortable somewhere, I'm like, fuck, I don't care. So at work, I was like, I don't care anymore. And it's kind of like, you're coming into my home now, all you strangers ordering food. And so I was just really like sarcastic and dry and kind of like making fun of people all the time. And in 1 month, I had 3 different tables ask me if I was a stand-up comedian. And then they'd be like, you should be. And so the third time it happened, I was like, fine, I'll try it. Because
had this been on your radar before? Like, was it something you thought of and you pushed away?
Never. Like, I had a friend in Toronto when I lived there that did stand up. And I remember always saying to her, like, I have no idea how you do that. Like, I could never do that. And I genuinely meant it. Like, I didn't think I could write. I didn't think that I would be able to go on stage. And I didn't understand stand up. I never watched it. I still don't really watch it. I mean, I watch people I know, or I'll go to the Comedy Store and I'll watch, but I don't sit at home. Like, people are like, oh, this new special's dropping. And I'm like, I probably should watch it, but I zone out too much. It was never on my radar. And then, but when I lived in New York, and there was a barista there, and he was a stand-up comedian, and he would always tell me that I should do it. But I really didn't hear him say that. Like, he would say it, I go, yeah, whatever. But I never even considered it. It was just very much like, no, that's not who I am or what I'm doing at all. And then, and then when this happened, it was like 3 times pounded into my head. I was like, fine, I'll do it. And I kind of only did it because there was a casting director that taught a stand-up course. And I was like, it's bang for your buck. I'll go in, I'll try it. And then I'm also getting seen by the casting director. It's like a better networking sort of thing.
Smart.
And so I did it. And then I got on stage and I liked it. And I liked being able to be me. And it was the first time, like I say, doing stand-up now, I was always trying to fit into like categories. People be like, oh, you're quirky. And I'd be like, okay, I guess I'll be zany in this. Or like, oh, I want to be dramatic. Oh, I want to be, oh, now I'm going out for the hot girl role, but I'm not that girl. That's not my essence. And so it was the first time that I just got to like be myself. And then I was like, well, that was fun and kind of easy. And then after that, I didn't take it seriously. Like I would go up when I got shows, but with stand-up, you have to practice. Like you have to. Now I get up 8 times a week. And if I don't, I hate myself because you just have to be constantly. Now I know where I want to be. I want to be my 100% myself. So for the first year, I didn't really take it seriously. And I would only get up if I had a show, which was like once a month. And then after that, I was like, okay, it's time. And then I thought, I'm good at this, or people tell me I'm good at it, and I actually like it. So let's give it a shot for a year and see if I still like it. And then I committed. And then once I commit to things, I can't stop committing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I love this. I love the metaphor. Go ahead.
I just wish that I knew. I wish I knew when I was in my 20s. That's the one thing that I wish. I wish I had tried it earlier.
I have thought that too. I mean, I've been a drummer ever since I was in high school, but I didn't take it seriously until I was much, much older than you're supposed to be when you do that. But the only way to look at it is that the timing is the timing. In your 20s, maybe you wouldn't have been there like you are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And then you keep getting these nudges. Hey, are you a comic? Are you a comic? I love that. And then you did it.
And then I did it.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Amazing.
I always forget that, but when I think back to it, I'm like, oh no, if people hadn't have said that, I really wouldn't have considered it. Yeah.
So the dream was to be an actor when you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it still is?
Always.
Partly?
Partly, like I kind of let that dream go in a way. I let the acting dream go because I was like, I can be a comedian and I can still act. I don't have to, just because I'm identifying as a comedian doesn't mean that I'm not an actor. Because like, I really had to wrap my head around it where it's like, Whitney Cummings, for example, people refer to her as a comedian, but she had her own TV show and she still acted. But no one is like, oh, Whitney Cummings, the actress. They're like, Whitney Cummings, the comedian. So I'm really in a transition of being comfortable and getting used to the fact that I'm a comedian. And the acting dream has died in the sense of I'm not going to identify as that.
I see.
But I'm still acting. Like, yeah, I'm still like characters I do is still acting, and going to even my commercial auditions is still acting and all that kind of stuff. But I feel now when I say I'm a comedian, it feels a lot more right, and I'm a lot more proud, and I actually believe it instead of being like, I'm an actor, you know. And my personality, I feel like, is a comedian more. But if someone handed me a script, I'd be like, yes. Like I still audition sometimes for stuff. I just am not pursuing it. I'm letting it come to me, which is just like a lazy thing that artists say.
Oh, it's a wonderfully pretentious thing, and I love it. I love it.
Come to me. I'm lazy.
And it will happen. I think it's inevitable. I really do. Like, I know, but it's like you are an actor, you are a comic, and we know that comedians wind up in films and television all the freaking time. So there's no reason to think if you want that it won't happen for you too, right?
That's very positive. Should be talking to you every day.
I'm here for you. I'm so good at inspiring other people and so poor at inspiring myself. I don't know if you're like that or not. I spend all my time telling myself what crap I am, but I'm really good at telling you how great you are, and you are.
Good. Let's just keep going.
So the other thing I love is that you decide you're a comic, or you're going to commit yourself to this, which is a necessary step, because it's not comedy, music, whatever. It's not something you can part-time. It's like you're in or you're not. You're in or it's a hobby, one of the two, right?
Exactly.
And you're up doing 8 shows a week, 8 sets a week, really honing your ability. And how much have you improved in doing that?
A lot.
That's a weird question, I know, but
no, but the only reason why I know the answer is because friends who saw me at the beginning, or even like one of my best friends, he's a guy and he is such an asshole, but I love him. But he's like will make fun of me all the time. He's like part of the reason I'm very quick witted, is trying to keep up with him.
Right.
And he had seen me like a year prior, and then he saw me last year or something, and he was like, this whole like 8 times a week thing, keep doing it. Yeah. Like, you're really good now. So people have been like, holy shit, you've changed so much. And so I think that I've definitely improved. I feel like if no one said that, I would probably be like, I guess I'm a bit better. But if other people see it, then, because I can't tell, because it's like if I write a joke, or if I haven't written a joke in a long time, then I'm like, oh my God, I'm not improving. Because I'm not seeing what I'm like on stage, but I do feel different. I'm getting angrier and angrier. So I guess I'm improving.
Oh no, it's Lewis Black.
Oh yeah. I'm angry.
Do you get nervous before you go on?
It depends. It depends who's on. Not anymore, but when it's a showcase for a club and I know the booker's there, yes. When I'm going up with, maybe it's like a comic I really respect, or if I'm on a lineup of all A-listers or B-listers, yes. If it's like a certain crowd, a certain ethnicity, and I'm the only white person, yes. Like it depends what the circumstance is. It's that whole like, I hope you like me, you might not like me, and the pressure that comes with that. But normally I don't get nervous, but then there are some times where they'll kick in and it sucks, because like you shake. And the whole thing about stand-up is you have to convince the audience that you are confident, and that otherwise they are going to turn on you and they're uncomfortable. So right. It's a whole act. Yeah.
That's intense. It sounds really intense to me.
It is intense. And it's intense with like, that's the other thing about acting, is that it kind of came full circle, because a lot of my material comes from truth. They're true stories. But the emotion that I feel isn't necessarily true. Like maybe I felt that emotion at one time. Like if it's an emotion that like I'm really angry with my dad, I have to get into the zone and relive that, when it's like I just saw my dad and we were chill. So it ends up being acting, because it's like, yeah, I have to, and I can't fake it. It's like even harder than doing a sitcom or like a drama, because I actually have to like retell the story like I am that in the moment. Right.
Was it difficult to find your comedic voice, or was it there right off the bat?
It was difficult because I thought when I started that I knew my comedic voice. I was like, this is who I am. I would do a lot of like weird humor, like weird thoughts, because I do have a lot of weird thoughts. And I would express those more. And I was a bit more like, I did play into the quirky weird and like smiling. Oh God, I'm so weird. And then I thought that I knew what my voice was, and I didn't really understand. And people always say that like it takes a while to find your voice, and it takes a while to even understand what that means. But I was like, no, I got my voice, because it was like, but now that I am coming into my voice after 3 years, I'm like, oh, this is coming into my voice. Then I'm like, yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
You don't have anybody going, no, that's not you. And then the more angry I get on stage, the more I play into it, the more I'm like, oh, this is my voice. And I was being something else before.
Are you an angry person, Nikki?
Oh, yeah. But I also have to be like, sometimes I won't be angry and I'm not in the mood. And then it's like people laugh more when I'm angry. Well, it depends on the crowd. So yeah. And it's like fun to be angry.
I'm thinking again of Lewis Black, who is famous for being an angry comic. And in his formative years, he was trying to do it kind of straight. He was just going up and doing jokes. And then he would get off stage with his friends and he'd be angry and people would be like, why aren't you like this on stage? This is when you're funny.
Yeah.
And it sunk into his head. And then he became Lewis Black, the angriest comic. And I like the angry comics. I like the angry comics myself. I'd like to be one, but I'm not clever enough to think of jokes. So I play the drums instead. But
there you go.
Yeah. So now you're up. Well, hey, tell me about playing the Comedy Store, please.
Playing the Comedy Store?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Why is that funny? Is that not what comedians say?
No. I guess it's funny because I forget. Like, I live here and I forget.
I know, but
what kind of world that is back in Toronto, and I guess people are like, we don't live it, you know?
Try to picture just the little drummer over here who loves comedy and has reverence for the Comedy Store. I want to know what it's like when you walk up there the first time.
Oh, man. The first time, I didn't really understand what it was because I'm not a comedy nerd. Right. Wasn't this build up for me. I honestly feel like I've just been placed here and I'm going with the flow.
Love it.
But now, so my experience is a bit different, but, so I actually live a 4-minute walk from the Comedy Store.
Oh, really?
And I moved here before I was a comedian, and I would always be like, oh, look at that. And I never went there. And the first time I did a show there, it was just exciting because everybody was like, oh, the Comedy Store. So then I was like, oh, the Comedy Store. Like, I just kind of went with it, but I didn't know anything about it. I just was like, oh, this is something that I'm supposed to be doing, is what it was. Right. So the first time I did it, it was really fun. I ran the light, but now what the Comedy Store is, it's scary. It's really scary at first because you don't know anybody, and what you're supposed to do is like go and hang and get to know people and become a part of the community. And for the first year, I had like one friend, but she was way more developed than I was. She had been in it for like 4 years and knew people, and I'd be like, oh, can I come with you? She'd be like, yeah, but she wasn't as enthusiastic, which I get now because like when you're starting out, you don't really want, like, you're bringing, if you're in it, then you're bringing this new person around and you have to introduce them. You kind of just are there to do your thing. You know, it's like, it's honestly like high school. So I used to get so much anxiety about going to hang out, and I went on stage and I was fine because it didn't really matter because my friends and family were there. But then when I started to have to go to hang out, I would just have to get drunk, and I would go with like one friend, and you kind of talk to people, and it was so uncomfortable because the thing about the Comedy Store is like the door guys are terrifying. They're all comics, but they're all really mean, which like some of them are like my good friends now and I love them. But it's just a world of insecure people that have fronts and power, you know? And so it's not welcoming. They're not like, oh, hi. Like the improv world is so much more, hi, what's your name? We welcome everybody and we're all a team. And stand up is like, I get it now. It's like, there's such a rise in stand up that there's so many people that are like, I'm a comedian. And they're like, prove it. You know, it's kind of like, take it seriously, which is why I started to, because I was like, I'm not getting respect. If I want to be in this community, I have to take it seriously. I can't just like flip in and out.
Oh,
yeah.
This is interesting because I'm interrupting you again.
No, it's okay.
Comedy is like being a gladiator. Like comedy is such a solitary individual thing, you know? Like, it's not like you're part of a team.
No.
So I wanted to ask you about the comedy world, like, because the music world, everybody is great. You're backstage with some opening for some band that's huge, but they're nice to you usually. Like, it's like a fraternity kind of thing. But it sounds like comedy. Well, maybe you have to. It's harder to get in, and then maybe when you're in, it's cool. But I don't know. Like, it seems like they're very protective of who gets in and who doesn't. Does that make sense in the community?
Yeah, it is protective in that sense. It's also like, it's protective to an extent, but it's like, here's the thing. People will like you. You have to prove yourself to be funny.
Right.
But funny is subjective, because if you don't think I'm funny, then maybe you don't like me, but so now that's weird. You know what I mean? There is a lot of camaraderie, though at the same time, it's just dealing with a lot of egos and insecure people, when I think that insecure people are like the scariest sometimes, because if they're insecure and they aren't open about it, then they're the ones that are like the bullies, or the ones that put up a front and try to intimidate you and take you down. And I think that right now, comedy is very competitive because there's a lot of competitions. There's so many people that everyone thinks they aren't going to get a spot. When I talk to older comedians, they're like, it wasn't like this before. Like, yeah, people were competitive to an extent, but it was more, I wish I was part of that time, because I'm way more like, let's talk about our feelings. Let's get each other's backs. Let's, like, fine. If I bomb after you, I want to be comfortable with being like, oh, fuck, I feel like shit. And someone being like, yeah, I know what that feels like. And it's fine. It's normal. But it's so many people being like, I did great. I whatever. And it's just not, it just seems like back in the day, people were way more supportive. And now it's like just so competitive. And that's why I love talking to older comedians, because not older like years and years, but just people have been in it and are like developed, because they're nice. They're not threatened by anything.
Right.
And it's very much like, the community is very much like high school.
It's, well, this is kind of a new golden age of comedy, right? Like, Netflix has brought it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, true. I can see how the competition would be rising. It's the polar opposite in the music world. Like, we're all screwed. Music is dead.
Yeah. But do you get insecure if you're around like a drummer that's better than you, or are you more like, or somebody that got a gig that you wanted but you didn't get? Do you get jealous?
Not really. And part of that is because I'm older. Okay. Yeah. So if I was younger, yeah, probably. But I'm in my 40s now, and I have maybe a little bit more perspective on things. But honestly, if I'm around a drummer who's better than me, I'm in that situation all the time, because I presume everybody's better than me. And I see them and I get inspired by that. And the reality is, well, partly I get inspired and partly I want to quit. You know what I mean? It's one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But generally speaking, everybody's so cool to each other. You know, like, people in the music world seem to genuinely be friendly to each other. There are exceptions. But generally speaking, there's a real feeling of us being all in this together. And the music industry is under such fire now that it's like, we all kind of look at each other and go, yeah, I know. It could be over any second, because nobody buys records and streaming is a joke. And so, I don't know. I've never felt, generally speaking, like anybody's out to get me or dismissive or whatever. It's really interesting. Like, for example, I have a good friend, Danny, who recently was backstage at a Def Leppard show. Okay? Knew somebody who knew somebody. Now, Def Leppard's still as big as it gets. It's not 1988 anymore, but it's Def Leppard. And, you know, if anybody's earned the right to just go to their bus and tell everybody to screw off, it's Def Leppard. And they weren't. Yeah. They were wonderful. And I've had other people say the same thing. Oh, man, those guys were so friendly to us. Music feels very collegial that way, like kind of like a family. Even if you're the first opener on that show, it's like you're still part of the club.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
It is, and it's great. And I feel like comedians demand more of you. Like you gotta earn this place in our circle. It feels that way.
Yeah, that is definitely how it is. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And there are some, and it's very like isolating, but it's also very like once you're in, then you feel safe. But
Right.
then at the same time, you know that the person that you're friends with might not think you're funny. And then it's like, does that matter or doesn't it matter? And am I trying to get respect? You get so caught up in the world that you're just trying to get respect from them and you forget it's not about them and it's about the audience.
Right.
It's not about the comedians thinking you're funny. It's about the audience. They're the fans. My friend pointed that out the other day. She was like, you're obsessed with like certain people thinking you're funny. It's the audience. It's the fans. Those comedians aren't going to help you make it. And it's just a very, it's pretty, some of the people are really great though, like, and we can all relate and it's awesome, but it is very isolated and like, yeah, you're not a team. You're not a team. You can be a family and you can relate to each other.
Yeah.
And I love that when we're on a show and it's like the audience is weird and we can all band together and be like, this is fucked. Good luck. I love that because now we're all on the same side. But when it's, if you walk into the green room and you're not shooting the shit and people only want to talk to like that one higher up person, it's just, it's a lot to tackle mentally.
I think in music, we're very accustomed to cooperating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, if you're a local bar band, you're playing a show this weekend, there's probably 3 other bands on that show with you. You share gear because that's just the way it works and you have to work together. I think the nature of the beast is much more cooperative where, again, comedy is so individual.
Yeah, right? It is.
And especially if, you're doing it for real. Like you're in the real place where this happens, where stars are made or stars burn out. Like you're in the fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a different thing maybe because, everybody who's there is there for a reason. They're there to make it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lot, which is a great place to be too because it makes me work harder.
Good for you.
It's like I want to keep up. I don't want to get on stage and be embarrassed. I want to be able to like keep up with everybody.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Do you spend a lot of time writing? You're like all the time writing new stuff or practicing?
No, that's the problem. Practicing, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is, no, not writing. I should, and I am always like, I need to, but I find I write more on stage and I'm trying to be patient with myself and I'm like, I've been doing it 3 years. I have so many old jokes that I haven't developed. Some of my jokes now still need work. So I need to practice, but I wish I need to write more. I already was like, okay, today I'm going to write a bit because it's hard. Some people though are good at sitting down and writing. It's just not how I work. I'm more of verbal.
Right. Do you improv on stage?
Yeah. If people heckle me or there's like a conversation started or something comes, but yeah, I'll improvise on stage. That's how like I've written a lot of my jokes actually is just from riffing. So there's like some open mics here that are improv mics and then you get topics and you can riff on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds intimidating.
Yeah, it is, but it's also, what you're going into. So it's like, if you bomb, you're riffing, like it's fine. That's kind of less pressure, I think.
Yeah, cool. So have you begun doing like the national kind of circuit where you're driving all over the place and playing everywhere?
I have not done that yet. I'll go places outside of California outside of LA.
Yeah.
I've done Chicago, I've done Phoenix, and I do Toronto, but I haven't done anywhere. I haven't done like the tour yet, but I'd love to.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to go about. Like I could tag along with people, but it's like takes time, and I have to have enough money and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, touring for anybody who tours for any reason is expensive. It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like the ideal would be to go with a bigger comedian who
lets you
has everything. Yeah, and has everything paid for. That's the dream.
Oh, that will happen. I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else is the dream? Where do you want this to go? What do you imagine as the pinnacle, the great thing? The Nikki Bon Netflix special?
No, I would like my own TV show.
Yeah.
I would like a TV show that kind of like expresses, I want a TV show that expresses all of something that can like reach people who feel the same way I do, kind of like the negativity, but also just I don't know, I'm like pitching a TV show right now, but I want my own TV show. I think my life, when I talk about my parents, people are like, this is crazy.
Really?
And so I would like, my ultimate dream would to have my own TV show and to be doing theaters. That'd be great.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Anytime I go see a comic at a theater, I leave with just a little pang in my heart. I wanted to be a comic for a long time. You did? Yeah.
Did you try?
No, I didn't. But I've always loved it. Loved it. And anytime I go to a show and they leave and the lights come up and they get to go continue in that world and I don't. But I get it a little bit because I am a touring musician, so I found a way. But it's like playing theaters would be so great. As a musician, it would too. But yeah, man, I love because it's all yours. It's just you and the microphone and the spotlight. It's all yours. It's wonderful. I think it's great.
It's so funny. Like, I guess I just don't think about it that way. I see it as like, I've always been the type of person, like if I was at a party and there were a bunch of people that we all didn't know each other, I'd want to be the one to get everybody to come together and we will all like get on the same page.
Yeah.
And I guess I like making people, I've always liked making people laugh. And I guess I see it as like, it's just getting everyone in a room on the same page is how I see it. Like, let's all relate to this. Like, we're all the same person. You don't know each other. You don't know each other, but we're all I'm going to say this. And if you all laugh at it, then we all agree. Like, let's all become comfortable and like laugh at some things.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. I never really thought of comedy as a uniter.
I think it is. I think it is in a way, a big way, actually. I think that's why I like it so much, and why when I talk about a TV show where it's something where it's like things that people don't want to talk about. I mean, not in the Jerry Seinfeld way of like observational. I think observational comedy is brilliant. I just don't do it as much. I just try and be as personable and honest about my life.
Right.
So in hopes of reaching somebody who is in the same situation I am or feels the same way I do, and knowing that they aren't alone. That is like the biggest message or the biggest effect I want to have on people is so hopefully something I say you can relate to and feel better about whatever insecurity you have.
That's amazing. As a comedian, that is something I've never considered before. In music, you see that all the time. All right.
Right.
I play with an artist called Sarah Smith, whose music is very much about that. It's very much about inspiring people and bringing people together. I never thought about comedy as a vehicle for that. That's very, very compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So we're talking about a show. Are you talking like a sitcom or a different sort of show?
A half-hour comedy, but like a dark comedy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like the little smile you just got when you said that. That was good. That's wonderful.
Something like that. Yeah.
We'll touch on a couple more things because I got to let you go because you're a busy LA comic and you got stuff to do.
And I'm doing all the things.
You're doing all the things. We have to talk about Instagirl.
Okay.
I show people Instagirl all the time. She's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
You're very
Instagirl.
welcome. Where did Instagirl come from?
So Instagirl came from, I had this audition where I had to do a bunch of characters and I didn't really know. And my friend said, you could do like, a guy I work with said you should do like Kylie Jenner. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. But I never like I don't watch reality TV. I didn't really know. He's like, I think you'd be good at it. So I watched her and then I started to like impersonate her. And then I filmed the audition. But as I kept going, I like just started to get into that world. And I was obsessed in that day when I was filming the audition with going around my house and like still playing the character. And then I obviously like adapted it to who I think Instagirl is. And I couldn't stop filming like all these stupid things Instagram people do. And I was posting it on my story and I was getting such a reaction from people and everyone was like loving it. So then from there I was like, well, I guess I'll just keep trying out videos of her. And then I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And now, that's it. And it's not like Kylie anymore, like the Kardashians, but it was based off of me trying to channel that and impersonate it. And then I developed my own like pathetic version of it. Like, 'cause she's a loser. You know what I mean? She's really trying to be something that she's not or like fit into that world.
Instagram drives me crazy. I love it, but it drives me crazy. And that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. It's true.
These quote unquote influencer types. And it's like, I can't complain about Instagram because Instagram has brought me several guests on this program, yourself included. But I just love the way you lampoon it because it's exaggerated, but it's so true. You know?
Yeah. That's why I wanted to do like Instagram fails, like all like what she's trying to do, and then it fails because once again, like these Instagram people are doing all this stuff and it's a success, but then at the same time, it's such a flop too. You know what I mean? It's like these people aren't showing you what's really happening behind the screens.
Right. No, it's so funny. Everybody I show it to laughs their head off at it. And then there's the America's Got Talent thing.
Yeah. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm still acting.
Because you went on as Instagirl, right?
As Instagirl, yeah, as a character, which was hard.
Was it really? How did they react to it?
Oh man, I was on stage for like 8 minutes and they cut it down to like a second. And I wish I had that clip, but they booed me.
Really?
Oh yeah. Because I didn't go on going, hi, I'm an actor playing Instagirl. I went on as Instagirl to do a stupid talent. Like I knew that I was going on the show to be like a ploy to get the judges to buzz me off. And I knew that no one would like me. However, the feeling of having a theater full of people boo you is
heavy.
Very heavy.
Oh,
like even though I knew, it fucked me up
really
for a day. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I was like next level. That was a crazy experience because I came off and I was so proud that I stuck to the character and that I had to improvise with what the judges were saying and I couldn't break. And like my friend was there and he said, I can't believe you didn't break that whole time. But once people are booing and like, it was like, I just kept going. But once I got off stage, this release of like, oh my God, I did it. And then the next day, this like huge come down.
Wow.
Because it's all this like negative energy coming at you. And I couldn't separate myself from the character. I couldn't be like, I forgot the fact that I developed this character because I hate Instagram people.
Right.
And that the people in the audience are going to hate this girl because it's something I hate. So why wouldn't they? But I couldn't separate myself from the character. And I was like, but it was just mean and this. And it was really hard. It was a crazy experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense. They didn't see through this. They thought you were for real.
Yeah. Which is great.
You're convincing, I suppose, but wow.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. I think like some people I'm sure knew, but people laughed. People did laugh too. Like they laughed at the character and they laughed at stuff I was doing as the character. But I don't know. It was just it was awesome. It was an awesome challenge, but very draining.
Well, it takes balls of steel, man, to do that. Good for you. I mean, I applaud
Thanks.
that. But I mean, you are now a battle-hardened stand-up comic, so you have balls of steel generally, I would think.
Yeah, I guess so. I try. I go to therapy. You have a therapist?
Yeah, well, you're in LA. You need one. There's probably one on every corner. We need to talk about very quickly your podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The Getting to Know You podcast, where it was discovered that you are the Pinterest mom.
The Pinterest mom.
That's you, right?
I am the Pinterest mom. Yep, that's me. That's me. Yes, I do that with Nicole Amy Schreiber, who's like a awesome comic. She's like she's part of all the clubs pretty much in LA. And that was cool. We just got to know each other like only through the podcast and not through social media, and did like a whole experiment. And then now we get to know strangers. So we'll like go to the park and get random people to talk to us, which is wild. Interesting.
I was just listening to the Eddie episode.
Yeah.
That's like that dude had been on 1,000 podcasts. He just showed up like, what's up? Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Isn't that crazy?
That was nuts.
I know. The guy before it too, the same thing. We got really lucky with these two guys. And then another one, we had this other girl. I haven't edited it yet. And she sucked. And Nicole's like, I don't want to put the episode up. But I'm like, no, but that's what happens. We're going to get people that suck too. Like she was just so annoying. Yeah.
So what do you do? Just stand there and put up a sign, or what happens?
We go to Griffith Park and we just put up a sign and say, want to do our podcast. And then people walk by and be like, want to do our podcast? And then they do it. Because we got to the point where we're like, okay, we know each other enough now. What are we going to talk about anymore? Yeah. And then we were trying to think of a different format. And then we came up with that, just trying stuff out.
I would 100% do your podcast. I would not hesitate.
Or if we know people have interesting stories, like we're going to have on Nicole's roommate who just got a divorce and it was like apparently like very traumatic. But that's somebody I don't know. And so then I'm like, okay, I want to interview. I think it's really interesting to hear random people who have no status, but their life and their story, because like the two random people we had such crazy lessons to learn. Just like everyday life shit.
You know what I love? What I love is that, and I've seen this in a lot of guests already who are creatives on this show, is that you do things.
Oh.
You do the lip sync, you do Instagirl, quite apart from your pursuit of stand-up comedy professionally, you do a podcast. Like you don't sit back and think, oh, that would be good, and then not do it. All of the people I've had on here who are successful creatives actually do the thing.
Cool.
And it's so important, and you do it, which means you're going to go places, I think.
Thank you. I really need you to know that. Yeah. I mean, I think I do so much that I'm like, I'm not, you just feel like you're not getting anywhere,
Oh, I know.
And I have to sit and appreciate what I'm doing and that I get to do it and that it's fun. But at the same time, the more you do and the more you're like, what is happening? Then it's hard, but it's true. Yeah, I am doing a lot.
Everything you do, though, is a little version of you that's out in the world working on your behalf, right?
Okay.
It's true.
Isn't
that true?
Right.
So
yeah, that's true.
Every podcast episode, everything you put on YouTube, whatever, is a little agent of yours that's out there in the world drawing attention to Nikki Bon, which it so often comes down to right place, right time, one simple connection. I've seen it loads of times in music. I got signed because that one person who was in the bar that night happened to be this guy.
No way.
Oh, it happens all the time. And it's because you're out there doing it, right?
Yeah.
So you're out there doing it, which means everything increases your opportunities of being found by that right person at the right time and opening the door to whatever it is you want. So
yeah,
good for you, man.
Thanks.
She's got a stunned expression on her face right now.
Just like, yeah, I need to take this in.
I have that effect on women. There's stunned expressions. Like, what?
I'm gonna be like, can you just like write down some positive things for me and send it to me?
Go to my website, read what I've written on my blog. Just read it daily and you'll be inspired, I hope.
Okay.
Nikki, I'm going to let you go, but seriously, thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. And good luck with all the stuff.
Thanks. Check out all my stuff. There's a lot of it.
I will be linking to your stuff. Don't worry.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, talk to you
Bye.
later. Cheers. Thank you once again, gentle listener, for taking in today's show. And thank you to Nikki for being such a charming and inspirational guest. If you want to know more about Nikki and the rest of my guests, go to www.john-huff.com. That's JOHN-HUFF.com. You can also find the show on Facebook at The John Huff Podcast. If you're an Instagram person, you can find me at JW_Huff. If you're into Apple Podcasts, please, and I really do mean this, kids, please do me a big favor and leave a rating and review of the show, preferably a positive one. That's all the time we have for today, but I'll be back very soon. Until then, keep your wits about you, and remember, good things happen when you put yourself out there. Bye for now. Don't know what to say for a closer this time. Guess I'll just say that.